Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Always exciting.
This time, we're heading into Chapter 13 of Underground to Canada.
Okay.
Picking up with Julie and Liza right where you left off.
Right.
They just witnessed their friends being captured.
Nah. Oh, it's just heartbreaking.
It's a tough moment, and now they're alone,
Yeah.
having to navigate the Appalachian Mountains.
Alone, and the mountains themselves are just so...
Formidable.
Yeah, they're a huge presence in this chapter.
Absolutely. And you know, I was thinking about that.
Okay.
The mountains themselves, they seem like another character.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Smucker uses them to show us so much about what the girls are going through internally.
Yeah, it's like those steep climbs in the rugged terrain.
Totally. It's like each step forward is a battle against despair for Julie.
Exactly. And not just physical despair, but also emotional.
Right. Because it's not just about escaping geography. It's about overcoming the trauma of slavery, too.
Yeah, psychological barrier.
Exactly. It's huge.
And then on top of all that, they're dealing with hunger exhaustion,
Oh, constantly looking over their shoulders.
terrified of being recaptured.
It's a lot.
It is, and it leads them to making some risky decisions.
Oh, yeah, like that decision to go down the mountain.
Desperation.
Driven by hunger.
They need food.
They're starving. And it's a gamble, for sure.
It is a gamble, and it leads them right into danger.
Right into the path of that farm woman with the gun.
Oh my gosh, that scene,
That's terrifying.
it's chilling.
Yeah.
She's so hostile.
And it's not just about her being mean.
Yeah.
It's about what she represents.
What do you mean?
Well, she's like the symbol of the racism they face.
Even outside the plantation?
Exactly. Even in the North, they can't escape it.
So it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
is escaping north really escaping the system?
That's the question, isn't it?
Because that woman,
With her accusations of stealing and that gun
she's like the embodiment of the fear and prejudice.
that they're running from.
But even facing that danger, they don't give up.
No, they're resilient.
They see those cows.
Like a light bulb goes off.
Food a chance.
It's interesting, though, isn't it?
What?
Because they're following the very animals
That were used for labor.
on the plantations,
It's like they're relying on the very system they're escaping.
but it also shows their resourcefulness,
Yeah, they're desperate.
and they see an opportunity,
Even in that situation.
which I think speaks to something really important.
What's that?
Their connection to nature.
Right.
Remember how Julie Chirali talks about feeling a sense of peace in the mountains?
Yeah, like they find a temporary escape from the human cruelty.
Exactly. It's like they're reclaiming that connection to the natural world.
A connection that slavery tried to sever.
And it makes you think about how they were treated like animals.
It's humanized.
Like by the system.
And yet they find solace in nature.
Which brings me to something I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
Smucker specifically mentions the Appalachian Mountains.
Yes.
Is there a reason she chose this setting?
Oh, definitely.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, think about the terrain. Rugged,
Blanketed?
difficult to navigate.
Exactly. And historically,
It's a challenging route for runaway slaves.
but there's also a symbolic element.
How so?
Well, the Appalachian Mountains represent a kind of wild freedom.
A place beyond the reach of society's rules.
Right. And I think that's key to understanding why Smucker chose this setting.
It's like the mountains themselves embody that struggle for freedom
The obstacles to overcome.
and the ultimate reward of reaching the summit.
Exactly. And it's within these mountains.
That Julie and Liza are going to find a turning point.
A moment that changes everything.
But we'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive.
So that turning point we were talking about.
Fellheim.
Yes, Fellsheim, this Mennonite village.
It's incredible. It's like they step into a completely different world.
It is. It's like a breath of fresh air after all that hardship and danger.
We go from the harshness of the mountains and that terrifying farm woman
To this peaceful community.
with well-kept cabins, happy children.
It's such a stark contrast.
And it's not just the visuals. The Mennonites themselves, their way of life.
Their pacifist beliefs, communal living.
It's also different from the slave-owning South.
It's like Smucker is showing us two completely different worlds.
And by doing so, highlighting the horrors of the one Julie and Liza are trying to escape.
Exactly. On one hand, you have the cruelty,
Yeah.
the dehumanization.
Represented by the farm woman and the slave owner.
And on the other, you have this compassion, this generosity.
Embodied by the Mennonites.
And there's another interesting detail here.
What's that?
The Mennonites speak German.
Well,
It creates this linguistic barrier
that further separates them.
from the world of slavery,
It's like they exist in this separate realm.
untouched by the ugliness.
Makes you wonder if Smucker is saying something about language itself.
What do you mean?
Like, could language be a barrier to understanding?
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe she's hinting at the ways different cultures see the world.
And how those different perspectives can lead to such different actions.
Because in this case, the Mennonites' language and culture
seem to foster this sense of compassion
and acceptance.
that's missing in the world Julie and Liza come from.
And that compassion, it's evident in every interaction they have.
Right. From the moment they arrive, the Mennonites offer them food.
Clean clothes, a warm place to sleep.
All these simple acts of kindness.
But they're so powerful.
It's not just about meeting their physical needs.
It's about restoring their dignity.
Reminding them of their humanity.
Remember that scene where Liza breaks down in tears?
Oh, because she's never been clean all over before.
It's heartbreaking.
But it's also so beautiful.
In that moment, she's not just being washed clean.
Right. It's like she's being cleansed of the trauma of slavery.
It's symbolic.
A rebirth.
And through these acts of kindness, both physical and symbolic,
the Mennonites become more than just characters.
they become symbols of hope.
A testament to the idea that even in the darkest of times
There are people who choose to act with compassion,
and conscience.
but it's not all straightforward for Jill. Their kindness, it creates this conflict within her,
How so?
which she's been conditioned to see all white people as the enemy,
All right.
as those who uphold slavery.
So to be treated with kindness by these white Mennonites,
It throws her for a loop,
it challenges everything she's ever known.
makes her question her own belief.
And that internal conflict, it's so important
Like
because it forces Joel Lilly to confront the complexities of human nature.
to see beyond the color of someone's skin.
To recognize that goodness can exist in unexpected places.
It's such a powerful message.
Especially in the context of this story.
Smucker is reminding us that judging individuals solely based on their race
Or any group affiliation for that matter.
is dangerous and ultimately dehumanizing.
And it's a message that resonates even today.
Absolutely. We still struggle with generalizations and stereotypes,
But this chapter reminds us that every person is an individual.
capable of both great kindness and great cruelty.
Julie's struggle to reconcile her past experiences.
With the kindness she's receiving now.
It's something I think many people can relate to.
Have you ever been hurt by someone and then had someone else show you unexpected kindness?
Absolutely.
It can be hard to reconcile those feelings.
To trust again.
But Julie allows herself to be vulnerable.
To accept their help.
And in doing so, opens herself up to the possibility of healing.
And hope.
And that hope, it's beautifully expressed through her singing.
You mean when she starts singing, I am bound for the promised land?
Yes. After the Mennonites give them provisions and send them on their way.
That moment gives me chills every time I read it.
It's not just a song.
It's a declaration of faith.
A testament to the enduring power of hope.
Even in the face of overwhelming adversity.
Makes you think about the role of music in times of struggle.
It can be so powerful.
A source of comfort, inspiration, even resistance.
And for Julie, it's a way to express her newfound hope.
Her determination.
It's also a way for her to connect with the Mennonites.
Despite their differences.
Music transcends language and cultural barriers.
Creates a shared experience.
A moment of shared humanity.
It's like a culmination of everything that's happened in the chapter.
The pain, the fear, the kindness, the hope.
It all comes together in that moment of catharsis.
Where Julie finds her voice again.
And with it, a renewed sense of purpose.
It's a beautiful reminder that even in the darkest of times,
there's always light to be found.
And that light often comes from unexpected sources.
Reminding us that the journey to freedom
is not just about reaching a destination,
but about the transformations we undergo along the way. You know, it's interesting when you talk about transformations. It's not just about Julie's views on race changing, right?
Right.
This whole chapter makes you think about
what?
What strength really means.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're facing these impossible odds.
It's not just about physical endurance.
No, it's deeper than that.
Remember how Julie talks about strength and courage earlier in the book?
Yeah, she connects it to Lester.
Right, how he stayed strong even when he was chained.
Not letting fear control him.
Exactly. That's real strength.
Facing your fears head on.
Not letting them cripple you.
And that's what she does throughout this chapter.
She makes tough decisions.
Confronts danger.
Never gives up on her goal.
Freedom.
And Liza, too, even with her injured ankle.
Yeah, she shows a different kind of strength.
She's constantly reminding Julie about their faith.
Urging her to keep believing.
It's like Liza's faith is her anchor.
It gives her the strength to endure.
The pain, the hardship, the despair.
And her belief, it strengthens Julie, too.
They really are a powerful pair.
Two sides of the same coin.
Both essential for their survival.
But it's not just about those external obstacles, is it?
No.
There's a lot going on inside Julie's head, too.
You're talking about that internal conflict she's having.
Yeah, about accepting help from white people.
It's a huge struggle for her.
She's been taught to see all white people as the enemy.
The upholders of slavery.
And then she encounters the Mennonites.
And their kindness just throws her for a loop.
It challenges everything she thought she knew.
Forces her to see the world in a new way.
To recognize that good can exist even within a system built on evil.
It's a powerful lesson.
And one that's still relevant today.
Absolutely. We can all get caught up in generalizations.
Stereotypes.
But Julie's experience reminds us
To look beyond those surface-level judgments.
to see the individual humanity in everyone.
It's about recognizing that people are complex.
Capable of both great and terrible things.
And that hope can come from the most unexpected places.
Like these Mennonites who offered Julie and Liza refuge.
When they need it most.
It's a beautiful example of how compassion can transcend boundaries.
Cultural, racial.
It really makes you think.
About the power of human connection.
And the importance of challenging our own assumptions.
Well, listeners, that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
Into Chapter 13.
Of Underground to Canada.
It's a chapter that's left me thinking about a lot of things.
The resilience of the human spirit.
The complexities of race and prejudice.
And the enduring power of hope.
Even in the darkest of times.
We hope you'll continue to explore these themes.
As you read on.
And keep asking those tough questions.
Because Julie and Liza's journey
is a reminder that the fight for freedom is never truly over.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep believing in the power of hope.